All right, we're ready? Okay. Thank you all for showing up. We're going to have a presentation, and the subject matter is you can live your dreams. The reason why I decided to do the presentations is because there's some things that's happened in my life that has caused me to live a life of purpose now. I spent 24 years in the Air Force, made Chief Master Sergeant, which is top 1% of the United States Air Force. And as a single parent, got a bachelor's degree, and then got a master's degree once I was right at retirement. So I accomplished a lot as a single parent, and I want to share with people just what they can do. They can overcome all of the adversity and become a successful person. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So, on the 4th of November 2015, I had a hip replacement surgery. That hip replacement surgery, they cut my artery, and I laid there bleeding for about 5.5 hours. Almost lost my life. So, my question becomes, how can a man that had a cut artery for 5 hours still be walking and talking? So I am a literal walking miracle, and I figure since God gave me a second chance, I need to live a life of purpose now. And my purpose is to share with people who may not think that life is great, to share with them some techniques how you can become an extraordinary person if you uphold or gravitate toward certain disciplines. And it requires discipline, determination, and dedication. The 3 Ds. So without the discipline and the determination, you're kind of waffling in the wind, and you go whichever direction the wind may blow you. So the first thing we want to talk about is successful people are just like you and I. Successful people, the biggest difference between a successful person and someone who's failing is the successful person takes the time to figure out how to solve their problems. And I was listening to a video by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and he was telling the guy, he was like, you know, if you don't want any problems, I got the perfect spot for you. And the guy was all excited, oh yeah, let me look. Where is it? He's like, it's down at the cemetery. So for all of us who have problems, that's a part of life. Every problem you have is to prepare you for another bigger step, bigger challenge in your life. And you got to face them head on. You can't run from your problems, but you have to go right in head first and take them head on. So, on the day we're born with a clean slate. And you're destined to do something great here when you're 79, 80 years here on this earth. But we make choices along the way, and the choices we make sometimes ruin our destiny. We're born destined for greatness. We make choices that are not of great caliber, and those choices will ensure that we either achieve our destiny or we fall far below where we should be. My thing is, you go through life, and it's like you're stepping each step of the way. You got to figure out what's the next step. If you want to live your dreams are based on you being serious with yourself and understanding that, well, maybe I'm not a good person here, but I'm great at this. And if you're not good over here, you find someone who is, and you befriend them or you hire them, whatever the case may be, so that your weak spot is now no longer a weak spot. You're growing over here and you're good at this. For instance, if you're good at computers and I'm good at HVAC work, well, you need HVAC to cool your computers. So if you come over and fix my computer because I'm not good at it, then I don't have to worry about that because I always have you next to me. And I come over and fix your air conditioner just in case it breaks and your computers can't operate. So you always find those people who has your blind side. Those people who can help you out tremendously. So, in James, I'm going to tell you guys this. These two ladies are like queens to me. Because after my surgery, I didn't know what was going on. So for one entire year, I kind of just flopped around like a fish out of water. And then I started going to their clinic. And they somehow got me to start thinking straight and see a little better. And so I'm forever grateful to you guys. And you never know how much I appreciate what y'all have done for me. And I have to say that because I'm so appreciative. So, we're going to move on now. Your thinking is the content of your mind, is of course conditioned by the past, your upbringing, culture, family, background, and so on. Remember, we're born with a clean slate. We're destined to be great. And then we're born into a family that may or may not have done anything spectacular in their whole existence, generation after generation after generation. You have to remember you're an adult now. As an adult, you have to make choices. You make choices based on what's going to get you where you want to go as far as your dreams are concerned. Now, most people I meet and I talk to, and you guys know I talk a lot, but most of those people, they don't have an idea of what they want to do with their lives. They're kind of just waffling around, and I go find a job and I work, and when that job fires me, I go find another one. But there's no actual plan. I like to have a plan. I like to know that with this big dream in the sky, if I'm working down here, what I do down here needs to go along with this up here. Not I'm just going to go over and get this job and work right here. It has nothing to do with your dreams. Or better yet, you don't even have dreams because you're so cynical and negative until you don't even believe that there's anything you can accomplish that will make you happy. So you have to start believing. Become a positive, optimistic person. Because one of the things you have to remember is what you think about is what you become. If you think you can't do it, you won't do it. If you think you can, somehow you will figure out how to achieve your goals and dreams that you set for yourself. So become a positive, optimistic person at all times. Even throughout my entire journey with my health issues, I've always remained positive. Yes, I've gotten beat down and you wake up, you can't see, and you have these things going through your mind. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But eventually I said to myself, I have to get going. This burning desire, this purpose is burning inside of me, and I have nowhere for it to go. I have to start doing these briefings because I'm going to explode if I don't. That's how I felt. It is who I am, and what I believe I was born to bring to the universe at this point in this time in the world. So, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I was afraid that, well, if I try to do the briefing, then I can't see the slides, and then I can't do this. But, I just believe that I don't have to see the slides. I've done them so much, I can come out and just talk because this is my life. This is how I live, this is how I think, and this is what I think success means to me. Everybody has a different success criteria, but ultimately success is you setting goals and achieving your goals. If you don't set goals, then how can you achieve them? As I stated earlier, you're just continuing to just go around in a circle like a dog chasing his tail, but you never arrive anywhere because there's no destination for you to go. You're just making it. I mentioned a couple weeks ago to some people about parenting. You can be a great provider, but a sorry parent. Parenting consists way more of just providing groceries and a roof over their head. You got to give them guidance, you got to train them, and you got to teach them and mold them into becoming that extraordinary person that you know they can become. If you don't teach them, who's going to teach them? The schools will teach them how to go 1 + 2 is 3, but who's going to teach them to have the moral and the courage and the values that are required for them to become a phenomenal person? You have to do that at home. If that's something that's not taking place, then that's going to be a huge mistake later, because your kids have nothing. They're like computers, really. Everything you put in means something. If you don't put substantial stuff in, then you don't get it out. So just remember, you're thinking. I listened to a YouTube video by Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret in the World. His problem was, as a kid, he'd see all the people who were wealthy and he'd see all the poor people, and his question was, well, why can they be wealthy and we're poor? Why? Well, he did a survey of some guys, 25 years old. He did 100 people. He surveyed 100 people who were 25 years old, who could all read, and who all had great ambition. So at 65, one of them was rich. And mind you now, they all wanted to be wealthy and well off when they were 25. But at 65, one was rich, 4 were financially set, 5 were still working, and 54 were depending on someone else to take care of them. And why is that? That happened because they conformed to what society expected of them. They conformed. You all know when you're in high school, if you're the nerd, you're picked on. So it is important for me to become the popular kid in high school, but that mentality lasts throughout your life. You go throughout your life conforming to what other people think you should be so that you can fit in, versus being the nerd, being the smart person, and sticking out and accepting the ridicule, and then later on in life, you are that one who was rich, and they're part of that 54 who were broke and dependent on someone else to take care of them. You got to be strong, and when you're different, people are going to talk about you, and you have to withstand that, because your vision and your goals, you know where you're going, and no one is going to knock you off course. If you allow people to come in and bring all this drama and negativity in your life, then your goals cannot be your priority. Your priority at that point in time is that you fit in and that you are a part of the group. In today's society, who gives a crap about the group? Because the people who are successful are the people who decided, I want to do this, whether they went to college, whether they started a business, whether they walked away from their family because they knew the negativity was going to hold them down, and moved across the country to start a business. Whatever they had to do, they did it. And everybody probably talked about them, but they are successful in their own mind because this was their goal and they brought it to fruition. So just remember, to be an outlier and to be different, be proud of it. I think I had a touch of being a nerd, and I always liked to think that I was cool and hanging out and I could do all this, but there's a lot of different scenarios. As I look back on my life, I just didn't fit in. I can't dance, and I have no game when it comes to getting a date or something. So I was just kind of a weird person. And so I just started reading and embracing my weirdness. And by reading and getting all this information from people who were successful, my whole mindset changed. I became a person with a vision now. I didn't have a vision before. I was just a great Air Force Master Sergeant. I thought I was. Other people may not have. Doing what a Master Sergeant do. But when I got inspired because I started reading books, that's when my life turned 180 degrees. I no longer saw things black and white. Oh, it's gray now. Why is it gray? Because there are several different options. You can't just, it's not just on or off, but it's on here and then I can get 50% or I can get 60% or I can turn it all the way off. You know, you have options and you just got to embrace who you are, be proud of who you are, even if people talk about you behind your back. But the thing you got to remember when you have that dream and that goal and you're achieving it, you're looking at your bank account. They're looking at what you're wearing and you're looking at what's in the bank account in your family situation. I got my family in a nice house and I got money in the bank. I'm not worried about a whole lot and nothing you can say can impact me. That's the way you have to think. Because everybody around you, oh, look at her. She thinks she's something. She was wearing these. Those only cost $20. Well, I got a good deal on them. If I wear $20 shoes, I don't care what you think about them because I like them. You know, who are you and what do you want? Your dream or your vision. As a kid, we all had dreams. And then life hits us. And then we couldn't handle it. And then we crashed and burned. Or we had dreams and we stayed committed, we stayed nerdy, we focused, and we finally arrived. Which one do you want to be? You know, as James and I were discussing earlier, some people may feel like that, you know, their habits are so deeply rooted within them until they can't change. They can't go without having a phone. They can't go without, you know, going to work and just, you know, you're making $10 an hour, but you can come to a session like this, get inspired, and make $100 an hour. But you can't come because you can't get out of your own way. Your fears, your fears of what you think I might say or whatever, how you might feel, but your fears are holding you back. Your fears won't allow you to become that extraordinary person because you won't let yourself get into a situation where you're going to be stretched and you're going to be forced to grow and to become bigger and to become better. You want to stay right where you're at, right where I am because my family had this. This is all I need. It's fascinating. As I was talking to an older lady, her message to me was, I don't need to become a millionaire. I have God. That's all I need. I'm like, that is commendable to have God. But to have God and to have money, how fascinating is that? You know, you can have both. We're designed to have both. You can't just limit yourself to one thing. You got to look at everything. And what society says shouldn't fit for you, well, make society a lie. You know, people used to tell me, boy, you sure are country. But I'm country, but I can stand up here and talk with the best of them, and I'll just be a good old country boy and say what I got to say, you know. But that hadn't stopped me. I am who I am. I have dreams. I'm pursuing my dreams. And well, whether they think I'm country or not is irrelevant to me. And that's the mentality we all need. So, to have a dream or vision, you get rid of aimlessness. Oh, I'm going to do this week. Next week, oh, I'm on a new business. This week, oh, I got a new job. Where is the consistency? Stop it. Focus, focus, focus on where you want to go and what is it going to take to get you there. Sometimes you may have to sit down with your spouse or your parents or somebody you trust and believe and write things down. And then you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to read it often to keep reminding yourself. Because remember, you're a creature of habit just like I am. If you don't break those habits, you won't ever move to the next level. So in order to break those habits, it's called auto-suggestion, but you write it down, and every day you read it over and over and over again. And when you keep reading it, your subconscious mind is getting it, and eventually your subconscious mind is going to start leading you where you want to go. But you can't just do the same stuff and expect to live your dream when your dream requires you to be doing something completely opposite. So when we think about your dream is the big macro thing in your life. And all the micro stuff is meant to fulfill that dream. So when we talk about setting goals, is a good example. Your dream determines what your goals are. When you start looking at goals, you set your short-term goals, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. All that stuff should be working toward this right here. Now your big dream might be 10 years away, but you have some things to do down here to lay the foundation so that once you get here, you're ready to rock and roll. Now if you don't set goals, then there is no hope for you, because without goals, it's almost like you're a ship out in the Gulf of Mexico. You know, there's nobody steering the ship. We're just going to let it go, and it goes wherever it wants to go. Back in the old days, what do we used to do? If I wanted to go from Biloxi to LA, what did I need to do? I needed a map. I needed to sit down and look at the map and realize I can take I-10 all the way, but once I get into LA, where am I going to go? You know, I'm fascinated that I was able to travel back in the day, because I didn't, it's like, well, how did I get there? I stopped at a payphone and called, hey, I'm at this location. Where do I need to go? You call the people and get the directions on into their house, but now you just put it in your phone's talking to you all the way, make a left here and half a mile. And that's all you have to do. So essentially, we don't have to think anymore. We're not thinking people, we're just doers. We do what we're told to do. Now, when you look at these two ladies right here, they're thinkers. I came in, they assessed where I was, and then they collaborated and talked about it, and then they tried it. Then they come back together and see if that worked. If it didn't work, no results will come, and they change it. They were thinkers throughout the whole process, because every person is different. And I know they thought I was crazy, because I was really just fascinated with them, because you don't see that every day. But they were coming up with a solution for my issues based on what symptoms I was showing, not what the book said. It's what symptoms I was showing. And I'm sure they went home some night and did some homework and like, well, this is what's going on. What is this? And Googled it and figured it out, and then come back and try something else. You got to respect that, because nothing is static. Everything is moving, and you got to figure out what the answer is. But what's the norm right now? I want to build a plant. I want to go work at the plant. I worked there for 50 years, and I don't have to think one day. They tell me to put this screw in, I put this screw in, that's all I do. Now when you got to think, that's a whole different story. Some people have gotten so mentally lazy until they can't think. And there's something, I don't know which slide is on, but it talks about, for every one physically lazy person, there are 1,000 who are mentally lazy. And being mentally lazy means that you're going to sit there and watch TV and just accept what other people tell you versus going out, digging and finding and doing the research yourself. You got to get engaged. If you want to be successful in today's society, you have to be that thinking person who's engaged, who set your goals, who got your big dreams, and you're working your goals down here. So when you get your dreams, does that mean Murphy's Law is not going to happen? Of course not. Things are going to happen to knock you off your game. Murphy's Law is going to show up, and that is anything that can happen will happen. So if you are not on your game, and if you're not a thinking person, the first time some adversity comes into your situation, you're going to quit. You got to keep going. You got to push through the tough stuff. And I always tell people, I bought my very first rental property. And boy, it looked good on the outside. And I was proud of myself. I got a house for $10,000, I didn't know there was a reason why it was $10,000. So I get the house, get ready to turn the electricity on. There's no wiring. It was during the time they were stealing all the copper. So what am I going to do? I just spent my money on this house. So after work every day, I'd have to go and climb up in the attic before it got dark and start rewiring the house. So I get the house wired up, get the electricity on, we had a big rainstorm. Guess what? The house flooded. So it is the absolute worst house that I have. But I didn't allow that to stop me from keep going and fulfilling my dream. Now, I also have one. Just renovated it, put about $7,000 into the house. And the lady lived there 3 months. And apparently the lady didn't have water for 3 months. So if you can imagine the soup salad that was in that toilet when I came, they continued to use the toilet. Things like that is why you need a big dream, because the little stuff like that will make you walk away and quit. And make you drive by that joker and throw a firebomb in there and burn it down and get the insurance money and be okay with it if you don't get caught. So, things are going to happen, but you just got to work through them. Things are supposed to happen because you're being prepared to become a phenomenal person over here. You can't have the same mentality you have down here when you're a small person. You got to get ready for this, and the turbulence is what's going to prepare you. You got to have faith. You got to have faith that this is where God wants you to be. Now, I have a really good indication that this is where I belong. As I stated earlier, who do you know who's walking around that's been bleeding out of an artery for 5 hours, got some vision issues and some cognitive issues, but other than that, I'm okay. That's unheard of. So every day that I am waking up, I have faith that this is where I belong. I have faith. And you got to have faith that this is the dream that you're supposed to bring to the universe and stick with it. You know, don't listen to other people, well, you need to go do this. This should be your dream. No, you know what you want to do. When I do these briefings, this is the most exciting time in my life because I can stand up and talk. Because I can't hardly see to write anymore. When I write, I can't read it. So I can talk though. So that's what I'm going to do is just talk. But you got to have faith, you know. That's the basis of all miracles in the universe, is that you believe. All the things that happen, all the miracles that happen, they happen because you have faith. And for some reason, the universe gives you what you are so destined to have. When you have pretend faith, oh well, I didn't want to do that anyway. I was just trying to see if I could make some money. You know, when my philosophy is, you don't base everything on money. You base everything on your purpose, why you want to do it, and the money will come. I do believe that by doing these briefings, eventually the money will come. Eventually, I'm not going to have to pay to have a venue, but people are going to be paying a substantial amount of money to come watch me, and voila, there's my dream. My dream was not to become a motivational speaker. My dream throughout my Air Force career until about 14 years was to start an HVAC business because I loved it. And then, of course, I got a little smarter, and then I had an opportunity to go in a couple hot attics, and it was like, well, I don't think I'm going to do that because it's hot. So then I decided to do the real estate. And now the real estate was because I read books. But then once I started reading books, I was like, oh, my guys, you know, as a supervisor, it's like, well, my guys need to know this stuff. So I started teaching classes and showing them how to do it, you know. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, why don't I just go out and teach people this stuff? So the ultimate dream is to do the real estate so I don't have to work anymore. And then to go out and teach people how to build wealth and to live their dreams. So that's my phase now. This is the final phase. So this is, since I'm going to live until I'm about 95 years old, and I'm 52 now, so I got quite a while to live this dream. You know, and So that's the way you got to think of it. Persistence. As I stated before, things are going to hit you. Things are going to knock you down. Things are going to get overwhelming. You got to stick with it. You got to stick with it. You know, a lot of people will start and then don't finish this. Let's move on to this. We ain't going to finish this. We'll move over here. Now you got 3 or 4 different fires going on. You don't know what to do. You know, I had a guy working on one of my houses in Alabama, and as long as he's getting his draws, he was okay. He'd come there and show up and do some stuff. The money started getting short toward the end, and then he'd go find another job. He wouldn't finish up what he was doing here. He'd go find something else where he can make some quick money. So the moral of the story is he's just chasing money. As I tried to get him to understand, you have the skill set. You can build a big business if you stop, get some sense in you, and then get started again. And one of the fascinating things that in Rich Dad Poor Dad, he was talking about, you know, in order to be rich, you got to be lazy. And people are like, oh gosh, why do I? Well, if I'm going to do all the work, I'm limited in what I can do. If I'm going to hire a plethora of people to do the work, now there's no end to the madness. I can make all kinds of bucks just being lazy, sitting in the office while everybody else is out working, right? That's the way the philosophy works. When you start your business and you get big enough to where you can hire other people, well, let other people do all the work, and you do the management and go out and get more jobs and yada, yada, yada. That's the way it works. You know, if you want to become big, but you got to stay persistent and you got to stick to it. And you know, even you guys are professionals in your craft. You're a professional in your craft. And what's next? Where are you going next? What's your next hurdle? You want to be a manager? You want to open your own clinic? What do you want to do? You know, those are things that I would think about because I'm a thinking person. You know, once you settle and you're just okay where you're at, then your evolution and your growth stops. You know, you got to stay hungry and you got to keep pushing. What's next? You know, do I go get a PhD in therapy and become this government renowned person who the government calls when there's an outbreak or something? What's next for you? I know you guys like, well, you shut up because I'm okay right now. But I'm just saying, just imagine you guys are young. You're going to work in this clinic for 40 years doing the same thing over and over again. Come on. I believe y'all have more ambition than that. Make sacrifices. Your money, your time. What are you willing to sacrifice to achieve your dreams? What are you willing to sacrifice? You know, I was kind of psychotic. Every time I'd have a promotion test in the military, I would literally study 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, for 3 months straight. Just crazy. And why did I do that? Because I didn't want to leave any chance that I would not get promoted. Because the way it works is you got a lot of things that your performance reports, then you take your test, and then you have other things that factor into you getting promoted. But most people don't study. So my game plan was, I'll kick the crap out of you on this test. I'll make 80s and 90s, and you'll make 20s and 30s, and I got 60 points on you, you know? But other people didn't think that way. But that was my way of getting promoted. I would study that crazy every time there was a promotion test. And it worked for me. You know, I was single most of my career. And, you know, my son would be up until 9. And then I'd start studying from 9 until midnight. You do what you got to do. You know, and if you want it, don't make excuses. Make a plan. Make a plan of how am I going to get to this destination if it almost seems impossible. The human body can do way more than we're forcing it to do. If you're in a situation where, I remember one year I had 2 classes in college. I was studying for promotion, and then the Super Bowl was over. You know, it's like I have to peep over at the Super Bowl, but these are my priorities. I got to stay focused. And that's what you got to do, you know. Sometimes staying persistent and staying engaged and reminding yourself all the time, these are my goals. The day is going to be brighter when I achieve it. But you can't get cynical. You can't get cynical and be like, well, I'm just going to get me a job and let it go. And you were this close to it. You know, in the book Think and Grow Rich, they talk about the guy was looking, he had a gold mine and had harvested some gold, and then the mine dried up. Well, unbeknownst to him, he sold it to a junkyard man, and the junkyard man went and got a professional engineer to come out and find the gold. He was 3 feet from gold. So his lesson, the moral of his story was, I'll never stop. Even when he went and sold insurance, he was persistent. He stuck with it. He knew that they needed it, and he didn't stop. And that's the mentality we have to have. I can't stop. You ever meet those people who, every time you see them, oh my gosh, I want to start this taxi business. And I know Biloxi needs a new taxi company. I know they do. And every time you talk to them, that's all he talks about. Well, that's a person who's focused. You don't want to hear it, but he's really focused on where he wants to go and how, and eventually he's going to get there. I had to monitor myself because I'm always excited and enthusiastic and ready to go because I think everybody should feel this way. I think the whole town of Biloxi should be here. Why? Because this is my passion. This is what I want to do, but I can't force it on you. I try to monitor myself, but sometimes I get unleashed. And when I get unleashed, I don't shut up, right, Amy? But that's the way it is, you know. That's who you are. That's what's burning in you. You want, and that's all you talk about. That's all you think about. And eventually it's going to become a reality. I know this because it's worked for me. And I never envisioned making the top 1% in the enlisted force in the Air Force. But as I kept working and the opportunities kept presenting themselves to me, I didn't do anything miraculous. I took care of people and did this, but because of who I was, I would always be moved to a position that was good for me to get promoted. You know, I got moved here because, hey, we got issues over here and we'll put you over here so you can calm it down. I'd go over there and be the outstanding leader that I thought I was and that I was, and things will calm down and life is good. So I just got promoted because, you know, as an indirect means, because I knew how to talk to people and how to treat people, and they would respond well to me typically. So I got moved to positions that, hey, that were good for me, for my career. So on the sacrifice, and I'm going to say this because my little niece loved this, it's like sometimes you got to eat macaroni without cheese. You know, if you can't afford cheese, you're just going to chop on the macaroni today, and then maybe the next time you can have some cheese. But hey, I spent all my money trying to get this business going, and I'm just going to scrape up what I can eat right now, and that's the way it's going to be. Sacrifice. We got to make those sacrifices. In our society, we want it all. We want it all right now. This is and I'm sure, you know, April is from the Philippines, but I'm sure she can attest to this. In America, you don't know people are poor. They got a car, they got TV, and you know, decent house most of the time. In other countries, when you're poor, people know you're poor. You know, you live in a hut, and you don't have a car, you don't have a TV. You know, that's the reality. We take a lot of things for granted, and we're not very grateful for a whole lot as Americans. If people were grateful for all the significant things that others are doing for them, then this would be a much better world. And I would share that if every home in America took care of their responsibility versus worrying about everybody else's issues. Just take care of your responsibilities. If everybody takes care of their responsibilities, this country will be much better, I believe. And that's just my 2 cents. But when we want to talk about other people and the blame game, and since YouTube, Facebook came out, it's awful now. Well, look at this. Well, look at this. You have to stop all that. You just got to focus on on the road you're traveling. Work on yourself. We go work at a job 40, 50, 60 hours a week. When do we stop to put the knowledge in ourselves? Let me tell you a secret. When you are not making the money you want to make and you're not doing what you want to do, you are responsible for creating more value in yourself to demand more. You create the value in yourself. More experience, more education. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to become a manager? Do I need to go to leadership classes? What do I need to do to get to the next level? You have to create that value in yourself. If you don't create the value, then you get what you get. Now, I think I'm a very valuable person. So I'm going to tell you, well, I need $100,000 to come work for you. If you don't want to give it to me, I'll go back to the house. Get the kids ready for school in the morning, drop them off, and have a leisure day. You know? That's what I can do, because you create that value in yourself, and instead of the bosses demanding, then you get to demand. Because you have value, they need you. When you don't have value, when you don't have any skills, then you need them. Let's reverse that. Let's make it where they need you, and you control how much you make, when you make, what kind of bonus you want. You negotiate all that stuff. You don't just go in, well, I'll just take what it is. I'm so thankful. Don't be thankful. Be unreasonable. I remember when I got my first job after I retired from the military, I thought I want to make $100,000. Well, we can't pay you that much, Mr. Golson. But we can give you this. I was like, well, I'll do it. Simply because I want the experience. There was a reason why I wanted that job. I wanted to see how my leadership and management skills from the military would translate over to the private sector. So I wanted the job just to see. Now I've seen, and I'm okay with it now, I don't have any curiosity anymore. Because, when you're in the military, you always think, oh man, I can get out of the military and make all kinds of money, get this bang-up job and do all these things. But sometimes the grass is always greener where you left versus where you're trying to go. And that's my message to people. Be careful what you do here if you don't have a solid plan, because they could bite you in the butt over here. So work on yourself. That's very important. I stress reading books, reading articles, just being intellectually curious. You got to be curious. Don't accept things for what people tell you. You accept it for what you know, based on your research and your life experience. So, the laws of wealth. If you want to get rich, what are the laws of wealth? So, he that wishes to be the greatest must find a way to serve the many. That's from the Bible. And we got another one that says, our rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to our contribution or our service. There's a theme here. If you serve the many, your blessings will come. And the bottom line is that if you help enough people get what they want, you can get everything you want. And this is something that's not really well known out there. Everybody thinks, I got to make money, I got to get this job, I got to do this. Well, I think I got to figure out how to serve as many people as I can. How can I serve people? How can I help my tenants? How can I be of service? And the bottom line is, I know my blessings are going to come. I know they are. Because if I don't get another blessing, I still have my life. That was enough for me back in November 2015 for me to be okay now. You know? So you got to serve. Serve others. Serve causes. There's a lot of poverty, despair. If you can help, if you can give a kind word to make somebody's day, be that person. Be that big person with a beaming star over your head. Everybody's looking at you, and you don't know why, but they're looking at you because there's something special about you, and they can feel your soul. They feel it when they're in your presence. Ask me how I know? Because people come to me and they talk to me about stuff, and I'm like, why are they talking to me? They don't even know me. Well, why would you walk from across the street and ask me to borrow $1? Do I look like I have money? Typically, I'm dressed in old pants and paint shirt and all this stuff. But what is it? I don't know what it is, but I was told once by somebody, like there's the sun shining on your head. There's a brightness over your head. And I could never figure out what she was talking about, you know. But I just roll with the punches, you know. I am who I am. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I won't. And that has got me this far. And I wanted to change before because it's like, well, people are taking advantage of me. I'm too nice. Especially in the military, you know, you're supposed to be hardcore, and I'm here talking to you about your feelings and stuff, you know. But that's what people need at that moment in that time from their leader, is to talk about, hey, you know, people found out I was divorced twice, and they come talk to me about their marriages, you know. I'm like, I guess I'm a marriage counselor, I'm everything. But when people are comfortable, that's what they do with you. The benefits of education. Now this is a big one. If you don't want to go to school, you want to drop out and go to work, God bless you. Because you're going to make $492 a week on average across the United States, which is $25,000 a year. That's, when you have a family, that's not very much money. But that's what you can expect to make when you make the choice that school is not an option for me. Now, my philosophy on school is once you finish high school and become an adult and get knocked around a few times, and then you start getting serious. I couldn't do math when I was in high school, but I'll do it now because I don't want to make more than $492 a week. It becomes a desperation because I can't take care of my family with that. But what are a lot of people doing? Well, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. And you're scraping by. Well, my family, I'm not expected to do much, and I'm just not going to do much because there's no expectation. You got to create the expectation. When my kids grew up, it wasn't, well, I might go to college. It's like, well, where am I going to college? It wasn't an option because that's the way they were raised. So if I get a high school degree, no college, $666 a week, or $34,000 a year. Oops. And I believe that $34,000 is kind of high. If you look at reality, at least here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, because there's not a lot of jobs making a lot of money. There's a lot of service industry jobs, and those jobs don't typically pay a whole lot of money. Some college associate degrees averaging $57 to $39,000 a year. You're getting better. But if you were to go to a technical college and just learn to be an electrician, learn HVAC, something, there's some substance there. There's a lot of perks for you to take care of your family. Bachelor's degree, $1,098 a week, $57,096 a year, and an advanced degree, $1,377 a week, and $71,604 a year. This is value. This is creating value in yourself. You create value You can get more education, more experience, but this is a representation from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. These are the wages that are being paid right now, average across the United States for degrees. So as I share with my kids, if you sacrifice 4 years, stay committed, get your degree, this is where you're going to be, somewhere down here. You know, if you want to just go from school to work, that's not the way to do it now. Back in the 20th century, when the industrial age was here, you could leave school, go to work, and take care of your family and be okay. You can't do that anymore. You got to get specialized skills, you got to get education, and you got to become a thinker. And you got to keep moving, you got to keep growing, you got to become more and more valuable. You know, when someone told me, well, they offered me the supervisory job, but I didn't want it. I didn't want all that responsibility. If you want to make more money, you're going to have more responsibility. Period. You want to stay down with the peasants and make just this, that's fine. But if you want to make more money, you got to have more responsibility, more value in you. There you go. Take the initiative. Well, I see that trash can's full, and I'm not going to take it out. I don't want to. A person with initiative, like, well, that trash can's full, let me go take it out. There's a difference. You can wait for someone to tell you what to do, or you can take the horse or the cow by the horns and you can lead them. In order to become a leader, you got to have initiative. If you're not going to have initiative, then how will you ever be picked out of the crowd? How? Because nobody sees you. You're blending in. You don't want to stick out. And James can attest to this. There are some people, you know, that, hey, maybe I want to consider you for a leadership role. Oh, no. I just want to be with the crowd. I don't want to stick out. You know, and that's sort of that mentality that people don't want to rock the boat or be in charge, but you can't make more money if you're not going to be in charge. That's just a simple fact. And if you don't take the initiative, you're never going to be in charge. You know, always be that person willing to do it, stepping forward to take on something, some big challenge. Be that person, because in the end, that's how you're going to become more prosperous in the future. Your attitude. I mentioned this earlier. If you think life sucks, then guess what? Life really sucks. If you think life is great and extraordinary things are happening right now at this point in time in the world, then life is great. And you can skip around and sing one of those little hip to the boolah, whatever they used to call it. But you can skip around and be happy and be positive and be optimistic. And that's how your world's going to be, because that's what you see. When you have stress, anxiety, you don't know what the next step's going to be. I can't imagine living like that. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can't imagine. But you have to plan. If you don't plan, that's the way it's going to be. Your attitude, every day you wake up, you have the opportunity to make a choice. I'm going to be happy or I'm going to be grouchy today. You make that decision. Other people should not be able to cause you to have a bad day. When me and the kids get up in the morning, we listen to a video. In the end of the video, it says, you can live your dream that pumps you up. You know? And why not listen to some inspiring video in the morning when you get up to get you ready mentally? You know, I listened to a video before I came here today because I had to watch the kids this morning. So that tells you that, stop that. Dad, I want some cereal. I want some milk. You know, it's like, good grief. So I had to get into the mentality to come here and be excited and be enthusiastic so that whoever comes, I'm not going to cheat them out of their time. It'll be something worthwhile for you to come to now and for you to come back to later. But you got to remember that your attitude is your decision. Your attitude is your decision. And you make the choice first thing in the morning before you leave the house. What attitude will I have? And let me share this with you. Your natural tendency is to be negative. That is our natural tendency. You have to remember that when you go negative, you knock yourself out of that mode. You be like, hey, you need to stop this and get back into the positive mode. You got to become conscious to catch yourself when you're going to go negative and bring it back to the positive. You keep doing that enough, eventually you're going to become that positive person who's got affirmations and all these great things to say. And when you have to say something that a person's not doing right or something, they're not going to take it as bad because they know that you're coming from a sincere place. So attitude is a lot of your success. If you, for instance, if I go into a bank to get a loan, I get the loan. Not only do I have good credit, but I bring the paperwork in, I bring everything I'm supposed to have to get the loan. Now there's other credit, well, they just don't want to give it to me. Well, your credit sucks, and then the way you went in there and slapped in the chair sucks, the way you dress sucks, everything about you sucks. And it's all important. Your attitude is important, the way you dress is important, the way you carry yourself is important, and how you speak is very important when you're dealing with professionals. Now, what you think about me is my reputation, but who I am is my character. You work on your character. You work on your character. And the character is qualities that distinguish a person. Reputation is what people are believed to be. Don't worry about what people say. That's their reputation and what they think. You know who you are. When the light goes off at night in your home and you're getting ready to go to sleep, you know who you are at that time. Do you squirm and just restless at night because you're not living on purpose? You're not living the best life you can live, and it bothers you. But work on your character, having a great character, so that when you do get to the point of your dream, there's nothing else that's going to stop you. When you have that good character, along with good work ethics, you're going to fulfill your true destiny. Self-confidence. This is huge. How can I believe in you when you don't believe in yourself? Believe in yourself. When, my confidence can be shaken, but when somebody says something and then it shakes my confidence, I have to go back and listen to my videos on YouTube, whatever it takes to get me back into the rhythm of who I am. Because people say some really horrible negative things to you, especially when you're looking at social media and things like that. You gotta, if it impacts you, you have to figure out a way to get yourself back into sync. Because once you're out of sync, everything is catastrophe. So don't allow anyone to steal your self-confidence. Just like coming to these classes. A big one is, I'll try. I'll try to be there. To me, that's an automatic no. I won't be there. I don't even talk to them. Then I was in Alabama, and it's like trying to convince the little lady to come, and she's like, well, I'll try. I don't want to tell you no lie. I tell you I'll be there, and she's not coming. And it's just my passion for this stuff, and the situation, the economic situation of some of the people I talk to. I really want them to be here, because there could be one word I mentioned in this session that's going to inspire them, and they're going to take off. But they won't even allow themselves that opportunity to get inspired or to get that one word they've been looking for their entire life, and it's spewed out of my mouth. So, God bless. Be enthusiastic. Be excited. Be enthusiastic. If you're not enthusiastic and excited about your life, how can you attract people to you? You know, if I come up to you and give you a handshake and it's all soft and your hand wiggly like old fish, what does that tell me about you? Now, I'm painting a picture. Everything about you really matters. How you shake a hand, how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you dress. Everything matters. To the totality of who you are, I can pick up on it just by watching you and shaking your hand and feeling your vibes when I'm in your presence. A good leader, a strong person who can help you will also sense these things. They also know this about you. So what you say and what you do, if they're not matching, I don't want to deal with you, you know, because that is very important to me. And I guess, I sit here and assess people when I meet them, but that's just a normal habit of mine, because when you're in the military, you meet people from everywhere and you don't know what they're up to. So I guess you get a defense mechanism. Well, should I fool with this person? And some reason they repel you, then you just don't ever talk to them again, you know. But you're trying to attract people to you who are influencers who can help you to that next level. And you got to be enthusiastic and sincere and all about your business of what you're trying to achieve. Self-control. Now, when you have serious impulse control or anything of that nature, you need to realize it. You didn't create your body. You know, God created your body from your mom and your daddy, but there are some things you may have to deal with, and you have to know this. And you have to have some mechanisms there to stop you from going to certain levels, because you know it's not going to be in your best interest of your dreams. Self-control. You know, there was this guy once the chief in the military, and he got sexual harassment charges because he did something inappropriate to the cleaning lady. You know, it's like, now this guy worked for 29, 30 years to get to this level. One moment in time ruined it all. Reputation, career, everything's gone. So, if impulse control is your issue, or you just got some things that came along with from your upbringing, as I stated, remember, sometimes you got to look back at how you were raised and what your parents taught you and think, well, maybe that wasn't right and mama was wrong. And my mom ain't watching this, so. But they used to have this thing, like you can't drink beer and eat watermelon, you're going to die. I done died about 1,000 deaths now because I drink beer and eat watermelon. But that was what we were told as kids. And you got to remember, your parents were born in this era, and now you're in this era. If you hold on to what your parents gave you, then you're stuck. You're stuck in a rut. If you take what they gave you and then you build on what they gave you, you have a solid foundation. But now you can build on that foundation and become even more and more exceptional. You know, my dad is he's an entrepreneur, I guess. But he's never went to vet school, not one day. I think he dropped out of school in the 6th grade, but he works on animals. You know, I've been around, he had his arm up this far, up in a cow, and then he takes it out and then go wash his hands and go eat, you know. But he learned that because that's what he loved to do. And also make a little money. And then, you know, right when I was finishing high school, he had this brilliant plan. We're going to make moonshine. We got somebody who wants to buy everything we can make. I'm like, all right, that sounds like a groovy plan, and dumb 18-year-old, you go along with it. But that didn't last long, But everything that is possible to make money, he's done it, and he did it because he has to take care of his family. But I diverged off the course, didn't I? Self-control, once again, it's important because you can lose everything that you ever had and dreamed of. One silly move, one silly thing you do, you're done. Profiting by failure, doing more than paid for, you're going to fail. This is not high school. High school expects you to be perfect all the way through. Real life, you're going to fail. Now the challenge is, what are you going to do when that failure occurs? You're going to lay down and make a temporary failure permanent? Or are you going to figure out what you did wrong or the lesson you need to learn and jump back in there again? I gave you the illustration of the house I have. I couldn't get rid of it. I already bought it. So I had to make a bad situation something good. You're going to fail. Expect it. But as we mentioned before, those who succeed are the ones who know how to solve their problem, not the ones who quit. And we talked about doing more than you're paid for. When you're trying to be a supervisor or a manager, there's a lot of stuff you got to do that you're not going to get paid for, but it needs to be done. If you don't do it, then your whole operation is going to fail, and now you're out of a job because you didn't do the things that they don't mention that you're going to have to do when you have the job interview. Stay late every day, come in when a hurricane's there. You got to do it all because you're responsible for it. Accurate thinking. A lot of things are going on right now. A lot of words are going on. Who do you believe? What do you believe? You got to believe something. What do you believe? And I say this to say, you are who you are. You have your morals, your values, and your principles, and that's what you believe. And it doesn't matter what the rest of the people say, this is what you believe, and that's it. But you got to know what's accurate, what's irrelevant, and what should not even be in your brain. Because you get all this noise in there, now you've lost mental clarity. You don't have the ability to continue to focus on your dream because all this disruption is going on in your head and you allowed it in. One of the secrets to success as well is being able to control your brain. Being able to control what you think about, when you think about it, what comes in, what goes out. You have to control all that. If you don't control it, then it gets out of hand and you get overwhelmed and then you do nothing. The story of my life with mental fatigue. I get mentally tired and I just sit there like a vegetable and wander around the house, eat some cookies, do this, do that, but I do absolutely nothing because I can't concentrate and focus. So, concentration, you got to focus like a laser beam. This is what I want. This is where I am at this juncture in my life, and this is what I'm going to do. The next stage, you do the same thing. When I would study for a promotion, this is what I want. Don't call me. Don't come by my house. This is what I'm doing. If you call me, if you come by, I'm done with you. Because I told you that these are the things that are important to me. And I mean they're important to me, so don't disrupt it. People didn't understand that, but that's who I was. And that's what I thought becoming successful required of me. And you're going to make that same decision in your life. What do you think is going to make you successful? And then you're going to do it, and you have to stick with it. So we're done. But I just want to let you all know that we're going to have 3 more classes. Financial management, and then we'll talk about career and education opportunity. This is sort of like an overview of what's possible, and then we go through and do the micro thing where, okay, if it's career, this is what's out there based on Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and this is what education is required. This is the money you can make. Try and put all the pieces together, and then we talk about how to build wealth, how to become a millionaire, how to have everything you want. And that is going to be, looking at business aspects and looking at investing and other things. So hopefully what I've shared with you today has been enlightening and may help, or if it doesn't help you, you can share it with someone else and it can help them. So, but I really appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully, not hopefully, that's a negative word to me. So. The next time we're going to have more people, and hopefully, and then we're going to change more lives. How about that? Any questions? Concerns? I see you stayed awake the whole time, Akia. Did you learn something? Yes?
I learned
You did. So now you know why school is so important. If you want to make good money, then you need to start making good grades. It doesn't matter, you just make yourself sit there and pay attention, and then you can become a doctor, or a lawyer, or whatever you want to become. You can, as long as you're smart. Okay? Oh, thank you. Well, all right. No questions?
I don't know how to stop.
He just screamed.